Hey guys, welcome to the Dude Seriously Show. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Tim.
And we just got back from seeing Ready Player One.
Are you ready?
Remember that 1980s film that filled your heart with nostalgia? Remember that other film from the 1980s? Remember the 80s? So, what did you think of Ready Player One?
Well, I actually listened to the audiobook last summer and loved the book. It was narrated by Will Wheaton, and he did an amazing job with it. And it was a very engrossing story, and all the references in it felt real and authentic. The movie just kind of let me down a little bit.
Yeah. I did not read the book or listen to it or any iteration thereof, but I saw the trailers and I was really excited. You know, you see all of these great references like the Back to the Future DeLorean, the Iron Giant. There's lots of surprises in the movie too that'll come there, but I just feel like the movie falters because, you know, it has all of these fun, nostalgic things in it, and it has a super serious story, and it doesn't know how to balance those two things.
I agree.
Because there are certain times where it's really fun and you're really, you know, into that, and then there's times where it's really serious, and they just felt like polar opposites to me. So while the movie has a lot of fun moments, I just felt like it has trouble balancing between fun and serious.
I also think no one really felt like they were in any real danger. I mean, I know there was some scenes where someone could get hurt, but it just never really felt like anybody was in all that much danger.
Yeah, because the risk is, you know, dying pulls you out of the game, so, you know, you don't really die in real life, and there are moments, but before we go too terribly far, let's jump into spoiler territory. Just want to make sure that everybody's aware. So from this point on, we're talking spoilers. So let's talk about some positives about the movie. You know, I really felt like that final battle was epic.
Yeah, it felt like it was pulled straight from the book. There were some, again, we were talking about references, but there were some really cool references to some just amazing characters. And if you don't know that they're coming, they I think for a lot of people they'll catch you off guard.
Yeah, definitely. And one of my fears was that this movie was going to be like Adam Sandler's Pixels from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Where it's just reference, and, you know, like Pac-Man falls out of the sky. I didn't actually see the movie. I can't bring myself to watch any Adam Sandler films of late, but I was scared that it was going to be like that, and it's definitely like not as even bad as the Adam Sandler trailer, but, you know, all of the characters are very 80s centric. You know, there's references to 80s music, 80s movies, video games, what have you, and it works well, but like in that final battle, we see like Halo and Overwatch, again, all cool franchises, but it's like, again, it's that balance that this movie has. Why are those characters in there? And I don't know.
It just felt like it was a lot of cool things. Like, yeah. I mean, I know there are some characters in that final battle that, you know, if you know the story, that are supposed to be there, but it also felt like, oh, look who's hidden way back here. Oh, look at that whole squad of Master Chief Spartans, or look at all this stuff. It just felt like a lot of, let's throw this cool stuff in there just for giggles almost. Because we can.
The movie has a really neat concept, though. This idea of people of all ages, all races, all genders, you know, going into this video game world to escape the real world, and you know, there's a lot of neat sociological themes going on there. You can't discredit that. But I think that the movie tries to be really fun and tries to be really serious with that. And this movie could have been like Blade Runner Dark, you know, talking about those differences, or it could have been Pixels Goofy.
Yeah.
You know, talking about that. And it has moments of both of those, and I think that it has trouble finding its footing between the two.
Yeah, even the villain that we have seen in the actor for the villain who we've seen in other movies just comes across as more goofy than menacing. I mean, especially with the teeth. I mean, it's like he got some money, so he got his teeth fixed.
Yeah.
And it just
Director Krennic.
It was cracking me up.
New grill. I guess he was so upset that Vader took his Death Star from him that the only thing that could fill that void is new teeth.
Dentures.
Yeah. Is that our first Star Wars character to get dentures that we know of?
Probably. I don't think they don't really talk about dental work in the Star Wars universe.
Well, they do now. So with any movie, there's positives and there's negatives. You talked about the CGI.
Yeah, for me, the story of this movie is supposed to be 30 years in the future. So you'd think a video game world like this Oasis is supposed to be would have 30 years advanced CGI.
Makes sense.
But you go in and you see this movie, and the CGI looks like it's from today, or maybe even a couple of years ago. So I mean, it kept kind of losing me with that, because my idea was more, when I listened to the story, was more that maybe they would film it real world and add some kind of effect to make it look like computer graphics. So it looks well beyond what we're capable of doing now. And I don't know, it bothered me.
I think that the worlds themselves looked pretty good in CGI. I think it's the characters that really stuck out.
It's that whole uncanny valley thing.
Yeah,
they're not quite real, but they're not quite computer. They're right in that area where you're going, yeah, that just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, interestingly, I feel similarly but different. It wasn't so much a visual thing for me, it was a storytelling thing.
Oh, yeah.
I actually cared a lot more about the things going in the video game than I did in real life. And just the real life scenes felt so goofy to me. Like, I don't know, they just felt so goofy. Like, they're in the back of this van that keeps getting rammed and it makes him miss the key he's trying to stick into the keyhole. And it's like, the last 5 minutes of this movie felt like a Hallmark movie.
Totally.
Where it's like, oh, you were the guy all along. Oh my goodness. Oh, everything's so happy
Sunshine
now.
and rainbows.
The bad guy's getting taken away. The guy gets the girl. And like, a lot of movies end like that. I mean, gosh, like some of the best movies of all time end like that. But the tone, the music, it just feels so, like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, I mean, and to be a Spielberg movie, I just didn't like these characters that much. He's normally really good with characters and making you feel for them.
Especially young characters.
Especially young characters. This is a story and a novel that felt like it was tailor-made for a Steven Spielberg hand. And it just, I don't know, it was losing me in a lot of places. I think you even asked me at one point, are you checked out? And I said, yeah, I'm getting pretty close.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, there's parts that really worked, like the Shining part.
Yeah, you were cracking up.
Oh, yeah, because I'm a huge Kubrick fan, and on top of that, The Shining is just,
yeah,
it's got to be in my top tier of movies.
And that actually looked really good.
Yeah.
For a computer world that they were in, that is what I expected it to look like, because it looked borderline real.
Yeah, it really did, especially when they're coming down the staircase in the foyer of the hotel. God, it was so cool. And, again, this movie finding its footing, it's fun and it's lighthearted for young audiences, but all of the nostalgia is for older audiences.
Yeah.
There's no young kids that are going to understand what The Shining is.
Probably not, and especially with what happens in that world, they're going to be totally freaked out.
Yeah, you have to have seen The Shining to get what's going on in that scene. So if you understand that movie and you've seen it, it's a full-blown nostalgia trip. You feel like you're in The Shining. But if you've never seen the movie, it's just another scene.
Well, that too, but also just some of the actual, I don't want to say exactly what happens, but just some of the stuff that goes on in that scene. Yeah. It just, I've seen The Shining, seen it several times. If I was a kid seeing what happened in this movie, I think I would have freaked out.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the intention of The Shining, but again, a lot of this movie relies on context. You have to know what these things are from before. There's a brief moment where Chucky shows up in the final battle, and if you don't know who Chucky is, it's just, all right.
Yeah, what does that matter?
Yeah, and I know we kind of looked at each other a couple of times while they were exchanging humor. And a lot of the humor in this, the parts that really got big laughs in our theater, were references to other movies. The original jokes that were written into the story, yeah, some of them got laughs, but nowhere near as funny as the references. And personally, I have a problem with that. I think that movies should stand on their own merit because, those original movies or the joke that they're playing off of were funny the first time because they were new, they were original. Mm-hmm. And in this age of reboots and sequels and whatever we're getting now, it's so rare to get original. This movie was so close to being original. It's a super original concept.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it just falls short.
It's more the execution than anything. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. So a missed opportunity, in my opinion, was when Artemis and Wade are at the dance, like the first dance, they're at this club and they're, dancing with each other, and when she goes to touch his hand for the first time, I think something really cool would have been to show his hand in the real world. And to show that void of, in the video game world, they're touching hands, but in the real world, there's this
He's all there by
emptiness.
himself.
Yeah, that would have helped show the lack of human touch that this world has and helped give impact whenever they do finally meet and get to hold hands. I just missed opportunity.
It's very true, because I think that's one of the main concepts of this movie, especially in the early part of it, is that everybody's just unplugged. Well, it's going to sound goofy, but unplug themselves from reality and plug themselves into this virtual thing. Nobody's interacting.
And when they do interact, they're fighting about things that went on in the video game world. So,
Yep.
I just feel like it was a waste opportunity for that human connection and human touch. And instead, where do they use it? When Director Krennic gets kicked in the balls. It's like, it's cheap. So with that, we're going to bring this review to a close. Tim, would you recommend Ready Player One?
If you're really excited for it, I would, but I think you need to go in with a little bit of tempered enthusiasm, because I was stoked. I was really excited, and it's probably middle of the road for me.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I was going into it looking to have a fun time, but also really touch on some serious, sociological ideas about the disconnect of humanity, the lack of touch, these essential parts of the human experience. I was hoping the movie would touch on that. They did a little bit, but it mostly was a popcorn flick, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity. So I would recommend this if you're already excited about it. If you're not already hyped about this movie, I don't know. It's probably one of the better things out in theaters right now, but go into it expecting a fun movie, not a super serious message kind of movie. So with that, we're going to bring this review to a final close, and dude, seriously, we'll see you on the next one.
Don't creak.
I never